Hey guys, so I don't know what happened, but my GeForce recorded my lap at like negative 50p. There's like 3 pixels total on the screen. It's kind of ridiculous. So I'm going to put that at the end because I talked about it and it's a really good lap and I don't know if I will ever beat it and I didn't save the replay. So I'm just going to put the first part of me talking about it, and then if you want to stick around and see this stupid lap, then yeah. Oh yeah, also I said I was about a second slower than what is possible. I learned that 6/10 of that is in the chicane. So listen to everything I do except in the chicane, I guess. All right, let's take a look at that. So this lap here is probably about a second off of like the absolute best you'll see. So it shouldn't be, this should be pretty close. I'm not a road guy by any means, but we'll do our best here. So going into, actually, you know what, let me do this real quick for you. Going into turn 1, my braking point for qual lap, not for race run, for qual lap, is going to be this light right here. Make sure I get hard on the brake. Now, the thing here is that the harder I am on the brake, the straighter my steering wheel has to be. So I'm trying to get like 80-ish% on the brake. You might be able to go a little higher, but past like 85, 90, it starts locking the wheels pretty bad. So I go 80% and I'm trying to keep my steering wheel as straight as possible with that downshift. I downshift once into third early. I don't want to short shift into second early because that really kicks out the right rear tire. I haven't found a way to do it, at least. I know that conventional road tells you want to use all the engine braking you can, but if my right rear tire isn't on the track, I don't know how that can help me. So even when I get into second late, it still kicks out my rear pretty bad. I have to kind of get loose and let into the corner. I'm really trying to get my right tire on this curb. You can hit the bump a little bit, but you don't want to hit it too hard because it'll really send you off course or spin you out. I just barely get on it, which I guess isn't too bad. If I didn't get on it, I'd have a little bit better of an exit. You really want to get all the way down to the curb, though. Very easy to miss it. If you're like looking for the numbers here, it's too late. It has to be like this light right here. And you have to hard brake for it. It's going to be very easy to overdrive this corner in both qual and the race. Make sure your right side tire is on this curb or else you're going to get an off track. Otherwise, you can be wherever you want. So I'm just letting my car back as I'm getting through the gears, just keeping the car as straight as possible. And then here, getting into this curb here, what I'm trying to do is aim it for about halfway through the curb and then try to late apex the first curb and then just try to stick to it. You see how I'm trying to stay on the curb so that when I leave the curb, I have a good angle to come over the hill. You don't want to track out hardly at all off this curb here. Then I come up over the hill, aim the left tire at this curb. You can get on it a little bit. I think I might get on. No, I barely miss it. You can get on it a tiny bit and you should be fine. All this, I'm in third. I like the rotation I'm getting from third here, and I don't think I would be getting much more acceleration in fourth at this point. So third, very tempting to go into fourth here, but I'm going to keep it in third here. And then fourth right as I'm leaving the second part of the S. Right as I'm unloading the wheel, I help my car not get super loose by getting that fourth upshift. And then if you do that correctly, you should just be able to full throttle and let the car track up for the next part here. If you're not able to take this part full throttle, then you haven't set up for it correctly. You should be able to take this last part of the S's full throttle. Okay. Next, we're going to go into the chicane. Conservative, you brake at the 5. Aggressive, you brake more towards the 4. I broke somewhere like halfway in between that, like 450. I probably lost a little bit of time on the chicane. I'm always not the best of the chicane, but I'll explain to you the best that I can. You want to get an angle where you see how there's a straight line that I can draw through this curb to the other curb without hitting the wall. You want to get that angle that makes that straight line possible. So I might come in a little bit early here. You can probably take it a little bit later. But it sets me up pretty good to come up over the curb into the second part. Now, you can see that one of the most important parts here is that you want to be off all pedals as you're coming up over the curb and landing. You want to, the moment that your tires compress back into the ground, you want to be off your pedals, and then right after that, you want to get on. If you have your tires locked up when you land, you're just going to go straight here. So you got to let them roll for like that split second before you get back on the brake. And so I do that, and I downshift. So I only downshift into third here, and then second in this little stretch right there, right when I land. I downshift into second right when I land. And then if I do this all correctly, I should have the turn that I need to come up over this curb and still be able to drive through the last 2 curbs. So one thing that you'll see a lot is you'll overdrive it and you won't be able to get to this curb. That you don't want that, because you want to be able to take this last part as straight as possible. And you can only do that by kind of hitting this first curb. Now, even then, I took this at a little bit shallower of an angle than I wanted to. I might have been able to risk a little bit more, but maybe I would have gotten an off track. You want to be straight off this last curb. So you see how I had to like flip-flop a little bit here? That lost me time. Perfect world, you hit that completely straight. So you want to come up just maybe a tiny bit so that you have a little bit more of an angle to take this as a straighter line. Still not the worst though. Now I'm going to ride this in second through here. Just try not to slide the tires. When you're in the race one, you'll run this in third, because second will heat up those rear tires more than third here. But then notice that even second is a little bit too much for me coming off the corner. I upshift into third right before I start getting on the gas, because it helps it keep the car under me. It's still going to get loose. I get all the acceleration I need in third gear here. I don't really need second anymore. And again, you can use all this terrain right here. There's no off track on this part of the track for whatever reason. So you can take that exit as wide as you want. Oops, sorry. You can attack the carousel as like a little mini diamond. You can wrap the bottom. It doesn't matter too much. And then just use your speed and track the car out here. Make sure the car's back on the track before this grass. If you even touch that grass, it's like a 1x. So just stay off that grass entirely. Then here, my braking point is going to be this line between the grass and the pavement. Maybe a little bit before then would be more conservative. I start off with the heavy braking, straight wheel. Bring it down into a trail as I turn in. I want to try to hit this curb about halfway through. Very good. Probably could have been a little bit lower there, but it's more or less where I want to be. You don't want to hit that curb too early, because then you just track out and have nowhere to go. You can jump this curb for about a little bit. I honestly have no clue where the line is, what's an off track and what's not. I just know that you can be a little bit off the curb and be fine. But if you take the corner right, you shouldn't need to be all the way out there. And besides, you want to set up for this next corner too. So you set up all the way out here, brake earlier than you think. For whatever reason, it's very hard to get down to the bottom here. I like to just let the car roll down on the bottom. I would conventionally say I don't want to be down on this curb this early. I want to get down there later. But for whatever reason, I find it really hard to get this car to turn down to the curb. So rolling the curb here for as long as I can is about the best I can do. I'm probably losing time there. Like in my head, the best way to approach this curb is to like cut in a little later, make a straighter exit. Like this is a pretty bad exit, because I'm not able to get the car turned enough, and I'm not able to get the car straight off the corner early. So I know it's a bad exit. I'm just there's probably a better way. I'm thinking maybe you slow down a little more and then cut in and then immediately go. That could work. The little banking is kind of weird there though, and also this truck just doesn't like to turn right. But anyway, that's the lap. And then what are my tips for long run here? So a lot of these corners that I'm taking in second, you want to take in third, the longer you get in the long run. You really don't want to light up your rear tires. Like that's the number one thing you're trying to avoid, especially into turn one. Braking point, like literally before this light, before it. Because yes, I can get that slide right there and be fine in qual, but that's going to heat up my tires and start snowballing into really bad stuff if you're doing that in a race over and over. So just find the braking points where your car is happy to keep under you. Don't go drifting through the S's. That's very easy to do. You see how I'm holding it? Like instead of holding in third, then I would probably put in fourth earlier, just to keep the sliding to a minimum. Just the longer you get into the run, when in doubt, higher gear, because you're trying to save those tires and specifically the tire heat. Earlier braking for the chicane here. Try not to get any like really major sliding moments through the chicane, but you still want to attack it. Third through here instead of second will save tires and not lose too much time. And then third on the exit here, let it track out so you don't slide. And then these last two corners get tight, so I would probably early entry try to arc them. It's just a lot about keeping those rears under you, because if you start sliding them, you're just going to immediately be at a disadvantage, and everything will just snowball on itself. But other than that, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. Hope to see you all on the track.
Flat for you.